Smithsonian has never been involved in anything like this in the Grand Canyon or anywhere.
Egyptian artifacts discovered in Grand Canyon. The tale of this extraordinary discovery.
You won't believe what just emerged at the Grand Canyon. The mysterious discovery has left scientists and conspiracy theorists in a state of frenzy.
Human history out here is complex and varied. These canyons have been occupied by people for millennia.
Is it an ancient civilization, or is there something more at play here? Keep watching as I reveal the truth behind this shocking revelation. Number 1, ancient civilization unearthed. You won't believe what archaeologists just unearthed in the Grand Canyon. Remnants of ancient civilization hidden from us for centuries. Along with these remnants, the shocking discovery also includes advanced ancient tools, structures, and even pottery. But what does all this mean? Well, it's possible that the Grand Canyon isn't just an old, lifeless historic site. It's possible a highly developed society once thrived at the canyon. But who were these people? Were they ancestors of ancient Native American tribes? Or what if they come from an entirely unknown society? For the most part,
human history out here is complex and varied. These canyons have been occupied by people for millennia.
It is believed that only the Havasu people once inhabited the area. However, looking at the carvings found in the area, there are some speculations about the presence of extraterrestrial beings in Grand Canyon. These petroglyphs were found in the area, and they date back to 8000 BC. Now, why is that important? It turns out the Native Americans were not the ones behind all of this. This means a civilization before the Havasu people might be responsible for these carvings. As archaeologists continue to deep dive into the shocking discovery, the evidence is groundbreaking and challenging pretty much everything we currently know about the canyon. Number 2, Egyptian artifacts in the canyon. Hold on tight, folks. Researchers have discovered Egyptian artifacts deep within the Grand Canyon. And that just raises one question. How did they get there? Was there some sort of an ancient trade route? The artifacts include hieroglyphics, massive statues, stunning jewelry, and even mummies. This controversial discovery has scientists and researchers reeling right now. Believe it or not, some of them actually believe this discovery is evidence of an ancient transoceanic contact. But skeptics still argue this is just a hoax.
I can tell you that the Smithsonian has never been involved in anything like this in the Grand Canyon or anywhere.
So, G.E. Kincaid?
There's no record of anyone by that name ever working for the Smithsonian. The whole thing is a hoax.
Or even just an example of modern contamination. Who knows, though? It's still led to an intense debate among scholars about the possibility of forgotten voyages connecting different cultures. Number 3, underground tunnel network. Things just keep getting wilder. Explorers have just mapped out a complex tunnel network located underneath the Grand Canyon. Are these tunnels again evidence of the existence of ancient civilization, or are they linked to secret military operations? Either way, the findings are both fascinating and terrifying. But what are they hiding down there? Well, it's possible these tunnels were dug during ancient mining operations. Other researchers predict they were used as a shelter during times of conflict. But of course, the conspiracy theorists suggest something else entirely. They believe this network was used for secret military operations during the Cold War. In any case, the discovery has opened up a Pandora box of theories about these mysterious passages. Number 4, giant skeletons. As crazy as it sounds, a group of scientists have actually uncovered giant skeletons at the Grand Canyon. Could these be remains of an ancient species of giants we never knew existed? This shocking discovery changes everything we know about human evolution. And these skeletons aren't just slightly bigger than modern humans. No, sir. The bones are said to be significantly bigger.
Skeletons that measure between 7 and 8 feet in height, which, for ancient man, would have been rather significant.
It's led to a lot of wild theories, with some even reciting wild mythological and folklore stories of ancient giants. And while most scientists believe these skeletons are nowhere near a human's, it might just be the remains of a now extinct species of large mammals. Nevertheless, the shocking discovery has still caused a stir. Number 5. Alien technology found. You're going to forget all the crazy discoveries after hearing about this one. Researchers have stumbled upon something so strange at the Grand Canyon that it almost appears to be alien technology. There's this mysterious metallic door-like structure that goes against our current understanding of both engineering and materials. The items, which by the way resemble advanced electrical components, have led to UFO enthusiasts believing the existence of an alien civilization within the canyon. Some even believe that it might be a portal for the aliens. There's not much known yet, and frankly speaking, I don't want to throw gas on the flames. It's better if we waited for more news before believing these strange artifacts to be the remnants of an advanced ancient alien race. Number 6. Havasu Falls. But Grand Canyon isn't all about aliens and mysterious beings. Who knew there'd be a series of breathtaking hidden waterfalls at the Grand Canyon? Now, for obvious reasons, these waterfalls have been kept hidden. Instead of turning these sites into tourism areas, they want to perverse the delicate ecosystem and ensure conservation. It's one of the most spectacular sights I've seen come out of the canyon. Just watch how the water magically cascades into the pristine pools, revealing a paradise completely unknown to the public. But this does raise a question. If they manage to keep this waterfall hidden for so long, just imagine what else they might be hiding from us. Number 7. Ancient petroglyphs. Now, petroglyphs aren't exactly something new. They've been spotted at various sites all over the world. But the ones at the Grand Canyon are kind of different. It's almost as if they're showing extraterrestrial encounters. The carvings show strange humanoid figures with long, elongated heads and very large eyes. And I don't know about you, but that looks like our imagination of aliens. But at the end of the day, these are all just baseless theories. Researchers think these petroglyphs are simply the result of shamanic rituals involving the use of strong psychedelics. I mean, the latter is way more believable, considering how the Vikings came up with so much stuff while being high on mushrooms. Number 8. Mysterious cave entrances. If you've ever been hiking to the Grand Canyon, I'm sure you've come across numerous caves. Some bold explorers who dared to charter the unknown claim they lead to nowhere. But the terrifying thing here is how nearly all of them report feeling a strange and eerie presence. Take this cave entrance, for example. There are strange footprints on its entrance, but inside there's nothing. The footprints are so deep that they even show on Google Earth. Could that be there's still a hidden civilization living in those caves? Or the strange things found around the cave entrances, as well as the eerie feeling, are more about the people who once inhabited the area. Number 9. Unknown fossils. We know for a fact that life was quite diverse back in the prehistoric days. There's probably a large number of extinct species that we still haven't discovered. But if you ask me, the Grand Canyon is the perfect place to start. Many researchers have found strange skeletal formations of species that can't be classified. Believe it or not, it's shaken up the very foundation of paleontology, with many questioning what sort of life the Grand Canyon supported. Recent discoveries include remains of an unidentified family of lizards that's nothing compared to the lizards we see today. As researchers continue digging up promising sites within the Grand Canyon, who knows what we'll find next? Let's just hope we don't have to end up rewriting the history of life on Earth anytime soon. Number 10. A complex river system. Now, I'm pretty sure you're having a tough time imagining an ancient civilization living beneath the Grand Canyon. How did they even survive? Or what about water? Well, get ready to be blown away. Scientists have recently discovered a subterranean river system beneath the Grand Canyon. It's obviously dried up now, but it's kick-started a movement among archaeologists
not your eyes playing tricks on you. That is the deep green water of the Colorado mixing with the bright blue water of the Little Colorado.
Who are eager to trace these waterways to potentially locate a source. And when you think about it, it might just be these ancient river systems that helped the ancient civilizations sustain themselves in such a harsh environment. I mean, we already know there are hidden waterfalls within the canyon. Maybe there are underground waterfalls as well, solving the million-dollar question of what supported all the different life forms being discovered in the basement of the world. Number 11. Ancient or natural temples. Many people don't realize this. The Grand Canyon is almost like an inverted mountain. And back in the early days, if you were to find God, it'd be at the top of a mountain. So, when you look at it that way, it makes sense why the Grand Canyon is a mini catalog of world mythology. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you already know the Vishnu Temple, a mysterious formation of Coconino sandstone. But there are rumors of another ancient temple hidden beneath the surface of the Grand Canyon, the Isis Temple. It was once rumored to be occupied by the Egyptians, who apparently lived in an ancient city underneath the canyon, with enough space to house nearly 50,000 people. But is it really an ancient temple? Well, there isn't any solid evidence, but at the end of the day, it's much better to just call it a natural temple formed by passing time. But I wouldn't rule anything out, considering there are plenty of actual shrines and temples within the Grand Canyon. Number 12. Mineral deposits. This isn't exactly a shocking discovery, but it's still quite promising. And honestly, I'm not exactly surprised either, considering how the Grand Canyon is full of rich mineral deposits. But uranium, now that's crazy. And plus, researchers have also come across various base metal deposits along with breccia pipes. Now, because the Grand Canyon is a protected land site, there's no way to figure out how much there is, but it still sparked a massive debate, since these deposits are essential for modern technology. To dig or not to dig? Well, I'm not sure if you know this, but uranium mining was actually a thing at the Grand Canyon nearly a century ago, before the operation was shut down. And with environmentalists rallying behind their narrative, I don't think we'll know what else is deposited within the canyon anytime soon. Oh, and just so you know, the mining is still done there. It's just that it's not done legally. Number 13. Lost Egyptian treasure. So, we know for a fact that there are ancient Egyptian artifacts within the Grand Canyon. But a lost Egyptian treasure? That's new. There's actually been some reality shows in the past, with cast members trying to locate some sort of lost treasures hidden somewhere in the canyon. And then there's also the infamous Tom's Treasure as well. But a handful of tourists have reported finding strange-looking gold and silver coins, and that alone is enough to get treasure hunters riled up. Is there really a lost Egyptian treasure hidden somewhere inside the breathtaking canyon? Well, I'm not so sure about a treasure, but considering how it was home to an ancient civilization, I'm sure there's plenty of interesting artifacts to be found. Number 14. Cave dwellings. Forget about the Egyptian artifacts for a second. Archaeologists have found simple instruments like tools, utensils, and even toys hidden deep inside the canyon's cave network. And this isn't meant to be all terrifying or shocking. It's right there in front of us, in plain sight. There were people living inside these caves, and after studying their fundamental tools, it's obvious this was a thriving civilization that had complex social lives along with sophisticated living arrangements.
Exploration Kincaid, who knew very well the archaeological significance of such cultural chaos.
But why haven't we found any of their skeletons yet? I mean, researchers have found skeletons of unknown species and even giants, but where did these cave dwellers go? So, yeah, not so scary that there were people living in these caves, but scarier that something or someone wiped out their existence for good. And by the way, cave dwellers still live in Grand Canyon. There are multiple places where they make small houses for themselves and live their lives there. Number 15. Fossilized dinosaur tracks. facts. What if I told you dinosaurs once roamed the Grand Canyon? Would you believe me? No, right? Well, what if I told you actual fossilized dinosaur tracks have been discovered in the Grand Canyon? The prints vary in size and shape, and what that means is there was once a wide variety of dinosaur species roaming here. And this
Look how deceiving this is. That almost looks like a toe right there.
begs the question, what do we even know about prehistoric Earth? Plus, how did these gigantic animals even survive here? Was there once vegetation within the Grand Canyon? As scientists double their efforts in pursuit of the truth, expect a lot of crazy findings about the Earth's ancient ecosystems. Oh, and if you ever visit the Grand Canyon, try to relive history and imagine a giant T-Rex roaming its floor. Number 16. Mummified remains. Sounds absurd, right? We can't find any remains of the cave dwellers, but researchers have literally dug up ancient mummified remains. Also, why does everyone think they're Egyptian? I mean, I get the idea that Egyptians may have embarked on a dangerous journey to South America, but who really are these people? And what
an ancient Egyptian presence in the Grand Canyon.
were they doing here? Don't you think it's possible that the ancient civilization, once thriving within the canyon, had the same burial practices as the Egyptian? And thanks to the dry climate, the mummies are remarkably well preserved. When they were first discovered, scientists found them buried with various tools and artifacts exactly how the pharaohs were sent into the afterlife. Maybe there was a South American pharaoh as well, or maybe the Egyptians really did travel this far to settle in the magnificent Grand Canyon. Number 17. Ancient water management systems. To be fair, these could just be natural formations. Caves are abundant in the Grand Canyon, and in a way, what researchers are imagining to be reservoirs, channels, and terraces are probably just, like I just said, natural formations. As much as I want to believe that, the dots do connect. I mean, complex cave networks, underground water systems, it only makes sense to have an irrigation system, right? Especially when you consider the dry and harsh environment. Plus, this ancient water management system might just be the secret behind the existence of an unknown civilization. The Egyptians and other ancient civilizations certainly had them. Either way, whatever people were living in the canyons sure knew how to get by, and it seems like we've significantly underestimated their intelligence as well. Number 18. A forgotten burial ground. That explains the strange and eerie feeling. Like modern-day cemeteries, researchers have uncovered a massive burial site within the Grand Canyon. How do we know it's a burial site? Skeletal remains, and a lot of them. It's a view into the traditions of the people who might have once lived here, as the burial ground is filled with different artifacts.
It demonstrates that ancient civilizations were more interconnected than previously thought.
But out of all places, what compelled them to settle and spend life inside a canyon? Were they hiding from something, or were they forced to live there? I guess we'll never know, but at least we'll get an idea of how this ancient society functioned. So, next time you're down there, don't forget to pay your respect. Number 19. The Great Unconformity. At this point, I'm pretty sure you have zero expectations. If this much has been found at the Grand Canyon, only God knows what else we'll stumble upon. But what if I told you there's actually a chunk of time missing from the Grand Canyon? 1.2 billion years to be exact. It's called the Great Unconformity, and it's found between the Tapete Sandstone and Vishnu Schist. But how did we jump from 525 million to 1.7 billion? Where's the 1.2 billion years of history in the middle? It's almost like a book with missing pages. Scientists think one of two things could have happened. Number one, both the rocks eroded at two different times. And number two, about a billion years back, the Earth was a giant snowball, and when the glaciers started melting, they wiped out 1.2 billion years of history. Number 20. The Trail of Time. A trip to the Grand Canyon is actually a trip to the past. See, our Earth is 4.5 billion years old, and the Grand Canyon at least 2 billion years old. So, in a way, that's not the Grand Canyon you're looking at. It's 2 billion years of history inside a mysterious natural formation. Believe it or not, there's also a really cool trail called the Trail of Time, which is a 2.38-mile-long walk between Yavapai Geology Museum and Maricopa Point. Now here's the interesting bit. Every meter you walk on the trail signifies a million years of our history. It's like a journey through time. Ancient civilizations, dinosaurs, strange forces, complex networks, and water systems. This place has seen it all, and we don't even know the entire story yet, considering how 1.2 billion years of it is missing. As magnificent as it might be, the Grand Canyon is a really strange and mysterious place on Earth. Number 21. plants. Hidden cave paintings. Ancient paintings can be found all over the world, but out of all places, the Grand Canyon is probably the last place I'd expect to find them, and it confirms our suspicions of ancient life, as well as these paintings depict scenes of everyday life. But it's not all sunshines and daisies. There are some mysterious symbols as well that researchers are still trying to interpret.
These really are incredible images, produced by the earliest people to live in western Amazonia.
These cave paintings can be found throughout the Grand Canyon, depicting different animals, hunting scenes, and artwork. What stories are these paintings trying to tell? Well, it'll be a good while until researchers are able to interpret these complex, abstract symbols. But if you had any doubt that there was no life in the Grand Canyon, that's pretty much been proven wrong. Number 22. Rare plant species. I have a hard time believing how plants can survive within the Grand Canyon. The conditions down there are so harsh that not even tourists are allowed to stay there over an extended period of time, and there have been numerous cases of them collapsing due to the intense heat and dehydration. But these aren't just normal desert plants or cactuses I'm talking about.
The Red Canyon area is the only place in the world where Barnaby's clover is found.
I'm talking about species of plants that were previously thought to be extinct. It really is strange, though, how a place so deadly has so many secrets, including life as well. But either way, scientists are leaving no stones unturned as they study these resilient plants and aim to learn a thing or two about conservation. Number 23. Once filled with water. If the depth of the Grand Canyon already wasn't scary enough, imagine it all filled with water. Well, sorry to burst your bubble, but it's actually happened in the past, or at least that's what researchers think. Geologists actually believe that it was the water running through the area that gave the Grand Canyon its shape. But the biggest evidence is the Great Unconformity we talked about earlier, because it's obvious the Earth was going through an ice age back then, and when all those glaciers melted, they wiped out billions of years of history and flooded the canyon. That's exactly what reshaped it as well. So the striking natural structures and formations we look at today were actually quite different billions of years back before those events. Either way, it would have looked nothing less than a stunning but deadly ocean. Number 24. Unexplainable lights. This is a special one for UFO enthusiasts. Unexplainable lights, orbs, and mysterious flying objects are nothing new at the Grand Canyon. There's at least a dozen of them reported every month. And like every UFO sighting, there's a ton of evidence to debunk them, but just hold on for a second.
In fact, there it is up in the sky.
Because it's not necessarily UFOs you gotta worry about. It could just be a naturally occurring phenomenon. Like I said earlier in this video, the canyon is full of natural deposits, and it's possible these lights are actually gases, electrical, or even just reflections. At the end of the day, there's no solid evidence to prove any of them, but for an already mysterious place, it's definitely fodder for conspiracy theorists. Number 25. Cursed objects. Tourists and explorers have reported coming a lot of strange objects that have not done them too much good. Plus, I'm not sure if you know this, but it's actually a rule. Anything found in the canyon belongs to the canyon. You're not even allowed to take so much as a rock from it, but that's not always the case. Some tourists do manage to walk away with a natural souvenir.
It steals the opportunity for the average person to find it,
only to send it back a couple of weeks or days later. And the story behind them is just wild. There are plenty of accounts of people taking a rock or a twig home from the Grand Canyon, only to have their entire lives flip upside down. So, a word of advice, don't put that shiny rock inside your pocket. Number 26. Pseudo Scorpions. That's a strange name for a scorpion, right? Well, it's not exactly a scorpion, and it's not a spider either. It looks exactly like a scorpion, but it's much smaller. And when I say smaller, I mean the largest ones are only 0.3 inches. Plus, what's even more messed up is how there's probably a billion of them just crawling around the Grand Canyon. Picture it this way. At any given moment, there's at least 1,000 of these pseudo scorpions just crawling around you. But don't worry, they're pretty much harmless to human beings, but it's still not exactly a fun fact to know. Anyway, that's it from my side, folks. So, what do you think? Do you think the Grand Canyon really houses mysterious secrets of the universe? And do you know any strange stories about the ancient land site? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos in the future.